I'm Thomas Brown. This is my Persuasion speech on online learning, and yeah. So, the case for online learning. In a time where every day students are asked to log on to Google Classroom or on Zoom to conduct their classes, it's now more imperative than ever before that we begin to embrace the coming future that is online learning. This speech was planned and researched before, but since the pandemic happened, COVID-19, I have changed it a little bit so that it will echo more of the reaction to that. And I'm not here to talk about the virus, because no, I'm going to use it sort of affecting what I'm going to say. So what is e-learning? E-learning, or electronic learning, as defined in an article on the elearningnc.gov website, I believe that's northcarolina.gov, is learning that utilizes electronic technologies to access educational curriculum outside of traditional classrooms. And that could be anything from a live video call with people in your class, an online worksheet you do, or you could take a test through a virtual classroom. And why is it important? It's important, and it's going to continue to be important, especially in the coming weeks, because it's a safe and efficient way for students, teachers, and schools to offer educational studies and programs during times where meeting in person in a physical classroom is not appropriate or unachievable, or it's not possible. E-learning has been offered as an alternative for many students in different places through charter schools. And then charter schools are sort of independent from the regular school district in that they can design their classrooms and alter the way the classrooms are run. So instead of just pencils and paper, they can use techniques such as e-learning, which is everyone gets a laptop and goes on the computer. And with social distancing becoming extremely important to keep from spreading the virus, e-learning has become the primary way for the education system of our country to operate at this time. So right now, because of the pandemic that's spreading, schools have started to close campuses and move all their courses and their meetings and everything else that's essential into an e-learning platform or an online platform. So, reading the reactions to this, obviously students are upset because they paid for board and room and dining and all that, but another thing I've noticed is they don't seem very comfortable with distance and online learning. And I'm asking you, why is that? Every person is different, obviously, and the reasonings for not being comfortable with e-learning. Perhaps they prefer meeting in face-to-face, or they like the structure of getting up and going to school and going to class, following a schedule. However, this is the exact reason why e-learning should be the default way of schooling instead, so that in trying times, especially like right now, a major pandemic or some other hazardous event, the education system will still be able to operate and continue as if everything was normal. It wouldn't be such of a jarring transition between in-person to online. More and more students are turning their attention towards distance learning and e-learning already, before the apocalypse, before the COVID-19 virus. And I think it's the responsibility of the education system to sort of accommodate those students, because I don't feel like they've done a great job at that yet. Now, this is just some statistics about e-learning, mainly for college, this first one. Statistically speaking, colleges have the largest percentage of online learning students. The National Center for Education Statistics' integrated post-secondary education data system, basically a big research firm, its latest data from October of 2018 showed that 70.7% of all public degree-granting institutions have some distant learning courses. Since 2003, the number of students taking at least one online course has grown at a rate greater than that of the overall higher education student body, meaning more students are taking online courses than there are students actually going to school. I believe this is what that means. According to the annual survey done by the Babson Survey Research Group, distance learning student enrollments increased for the 14th straight year in 2016. More than 30% of higher education students in 2016 took at least one distance learning course. This is just a few for K through 12 traditional learning. The United States has made some significant progress in reaching a goal. I believe it was set by the Obama administration to get all schools connected to a better high-speed wireless internet, and so that they could use internet and technology for that. The use of instructional technology, computers, the internet, mobile devices like phones, tablets, smartboards, in K-12 classrooms has grown rapidly. However, there's not national data available to address the quality and effectiveness of these technologies. Why is e-learning such a jarring thing for some students to experience, from going from regular in-person classes to online? E-learning is not already the default. It's not the standard way we do it. E-learning is not required, and is not really encouraged in most places. Without showing students that e-learning is acceptable, adequate, and approachable, when these major events happen, like this pandemic and everyone's forced to be at home, students are going to be completely in the dark when it comes to their education. They won't know what to do because no one's shown them how to use e-learning effectively. Obviously, there's plenty of opposing views to this. I've chosen to pick one specific example of a research study done about the negative effects of e-learning and its effects on education. In a multi-year study of the implementation of online learning in a large urban school district, the researchers went straight to the source by interviewing and questioning high school students and instructors themselves. They pulled from over 6 million records of online instructional sessions directly related to student records, and found mostly negative associations between the online course taking and test scores. Examined in the study was how students were interacting with the online course system, what structural surfaces or factors, physical environment, instructional help, helped or hurt the access to quality internet and quality learning activities, and how online learning affects whether or not students made academic progress. Among the students who took the most online courses were students that had become pregnant, those that had been expelled, some that had been incarcerated. These students were grouped together and separated from the rest of their peers. With that group in mind, and taking grade point average, GPA, credits earned, and test scores into account, the study found mostly negative associations between online course taking and raising GPA, earning credits, and getting higher test scores. What the study I researched did not find the data that supported online learning. It also had its own flaws and sets of limits. While initially they were interviewing a bunch of high school students, they limited that group down to the particular set of students that, well, basically they weren't focusing on their education at that moment. They had other things that they were bothered with. Not bothered, but distracted with. The study conveniently left out parts where they interviewed other students in the 11th and 12th grade that fared exceptionally better and used online learning as an opportunity to earn their credits and graduate. So while there can be negatives and opposers to online learning, there's also tons of evidence to show that the students are turning towards taking e-learning courses over the in-person and physical classroom classes. E-learning is becoming vastly important to the continuation of the education system's ability to operate during times of a crisis, such as this pandemic. It is something that a ton of students are still uncomfortable with, and the only way to change that is to provide them with more opportunities to experience online learning. Online learning, e-learning, or distance learning, they're all kind of the same thing, might not be for everyone, but in unfortunate times and events where meeting together in a classroom is next to impossible, e-learning is a useful and powerful tool that should and could be better utilized in everyday operation of education. And this is my works cited. Thank you.